Welcome to Living the Smarter Science of Slim, where we provide a scientifically proven lifestyle for long-term health and fat loss by eating more and exercising less, but smarter.
Eat smarter, exercise smarter, live better. I am so ready for that.
Hey everyone, Jonathan Bailor and Carrie Brown coming at you with another Smarter Science of Slim podcast. And this week, we are going to give an extended answer and discussion for the single most common question asked about the Smarter Science of Slim. And that is, when can I expect results and what kind of results am I going to see? We live in a world of 7-day fasts and lose 14 pounds in 2 weeks. And that's what everyone wants to know. They want to know, if I go SANE and get eccentric, what kind of crazy quick fix solution is this going to be? And what we're going to talk about in this podcast is about how, if that's what we're interested in, if we're interested in some quick fix, temporary Band-Aid solution that really doesn't work, Smarter Science of Slim is not going to be the right place for us. But if we're looking to fundamentally change the way our body works and enable ourselves to achieve practical and permanent fat loss and health for the rest of our life, this is going to be the place for us. So with that introduction, Carrie, how you doing today?
Well, I didn't think you were ever going to take a breath so I could say hello. Hello.
Well, I have to warn the listeners that this is a subject that I get amped up about, because often, Slim is let's be fair here. Slim is in the title of the book, The Smarter Science of Slim, as well as the title of this podcast. And that sometimes causes people to think that this is a quick fix weight loss program. And as you know, Carrie, it is anything but that.
It is not, but it does work.
But it does work.
Long term.
It does work long term. And the analogy I like to use just to get started is, think about what we're doing here at the Smarter Science of Slim, like what you would do to heal a broken bone. Like, let's say you break your ankle, okay? Because we always talk about having a broken metabolism. Right?
I did that. I jumped out of an airplane and poof, there was my ankle broken.
Okay, well, so that's great, actually. So when you broke your ankle, then what happened? What did you have to do to heal that ankle?
Then I hopped around for for 8 weeks.
Well, but you got a cast put on your ankle, right?
I did, yes.
You got a cast put on your ankle, and for 8 weeks, you potentially didn't see your ankle getting any better.
No. It just hurt.
It just hurt, and you didn't really. You had to give it time to heal.
Yes.
You trusted the medical experts to sort of say, put it in a cast. This is how you heal an ankle, and then 8 weeks later, you were good to go.
Yes.
And you've been good to go ever since.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. So,
and I haven't jumped out of an airplane since either,
well, no,
which probably helps.
That's actually a really great analogy. So let's think about that here, folks. So we've got our body, right? We've got an ankle. We've got the ankle broken. Let's talk about our metabolism now. We've got our metabolism, and our metabolism is broken. It's not broken from jumping out of airplanes. It is broken by eating the insane starches and sweets and processed fats that we're inundated with day in and day out. Now, once our metabolism is broken, we have to heal it. And the way we start to heal it is we eliminate the types of things that break our metabolism that we just said. And we also essentially put it in a cast, or we start doing eccentric training and we start eating sanely. Then we have to wait for, at times, 4 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, because our body is literally repairing itself. And that doesn't happen overnight, and it also doesn't happen linearly. It's not as if you're going to lose 1 pound a week for 14 weeks. That's not the way it works. That's the way it works for some people. But what a lot of people, including my brother, see is that after 8 weeks, 12 weeks, they don't change anything about the way they're eating and exercising, and all of a sudden their body just starts to work differently. And that's essentially the cast coming off, your metabolism being healed, and your metabolism then leading you to a life of effortless health and fat loss forever at that point.
It's awesome.
It is awesome. And just like it's awesome to have a healed ankle and then to be able to walk around on it without thinking about it, it's also awesome to heal your metabolism once. And then, again, don't jump out of airplanes or eat starches and sweets, but you're good. What we've been doing is we've essentially been strapping braces on our broken ankles. And they may let us walk around for an additional week. They may allow us to lose 5 pounds here, 5 pounds there. But then we just end up re-hurting our ankle, or we end up regaining weight because we haven't actually stepped back and allowed our body time to heal itself and then prevented it from re-hurting itself. And that's the shift we need to make.
I must point out, though, and if you remember a year ago when we met and I started doing this I lost 10 pounds very quickly.
Yep.
In like 2 weeks. But since then, I haven't lost any weight since then, but my body's been shrinking.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I think it's important to note that some people may experience that early weight loss and then get to what, historically we've always called the plateau. But that's when you must remember that that's kind of when the scale needs to just go in the garage or down to Goodwill, because that's not the key metric that you're looking for.
I'm so happy you brought up the scale too, Carrie, because again, if your goal is weight loss, please stop listening to this podcast, because our goal is not weight loss. You will, if you are significantly overweight, you will lose weight, but that's not our goal. And the reason it's very important for us to say that's not our goal is there's 3 primary ways we can lose weight. We can shed water, aka we can dehydrate ourselves. We can burn fat, and we can burn muscle. If we do traditional calorie counting approaches, eat less and exercise more, we're going to dehydrate ourselves, we're going to burn a bunch of muscle, and we might burn some fat. However, we are going to do all 3 of those things. So that's going to make us lose a lot of weight, but that's going to break our metabolism even worse, and we're going to gain more in the long term. Smarter Science of Slim is not going to dehydrate you. In fact, we're going to drink way more water. It's going to build muscle, not burn muscle, not so much that it makes you bulky, just so that you look toned and awesome. And it's going to burn fat. But if we actually increase the level of water in your body and increase the level of muscle, 2 of those 3 factors are going up, not down. So if our goal is weight loss, Smarter Science of Slim in some cases can be counterproductive, at least in the short term.
Because I would imagine that what most people are here for is really fat loss.
Yep.
We call it weight loss, but that's not really what we want. We want to lose the fat.
Exactly. And in fact, until we start eating and exercising in a way that laser focuses on fat loss rather than just destroying our body, which is what traditional things do. They just say, get rid of everything, shed everything. Until we do that, we will continue to be frustrated, because we're going to continue this cycle of yo-yo dieting and fighting against our body. Whereas we have to first heal ourselves hormonally, which will enable our body to burn fat for us. And once that happens, again, you won't need to look at the scale, because you'll feel better, you'll look better, your clothes will fit you better. And fundamentally, I personally think, Carrie, that freeing ourselves from the constraints of weight and starting to think in terms of other more productive goals is really just one of the keys to achieving lifelong fitness and health. Because frankly, I don't know about you, but just hitting some arbitrary number at a scale is actually pretty demeaning. Like, it doesn't motivate me, it demeans me.
Well, not only that, but really you're the only person that knows it.
Exactly.
So whether it's gone up or down or stayed the same or what, it doesn't really matter. I think what's important is losing fat, because excess body fat causes all sorts of other illnesses and diseases that we know. So we want to get rid of the fat. We also want to feel better. We also want to look better. We want to fit in our clothes better. Everybody else will notice that.
Absolutely.
They don't actually care what the number is. They just care what the whole package looks like, those that do care, and they want to know that you're healthy.
Absolutely.
So throw away your scale.
Throw away your scale. And if you do want something to measure, it's not that you should just blindly trust and never measure anything. That's not what we're saying. If you want to measure, you can. Let's just use an accurate and a useful measure. For example, your waist circumference. Just get a 99-cent measuring tape, measure your waist, if you'd like, once a month at the same time of day on the same day of the week, because things fluctuate. Because your waist measurement, one, does actually correlate with a lot of health markers. Like having a large waist circumference, having a lot of adipose tissue in your stomach region, that is very, very bad for your health. And in addition to that, that is a measurement that will reward you for burning fat and for developing lean muscle tissue. And it will not necessarily reward you if you do traditional approaches.
And that was the first thing for me that changed was when I increased the amount of protein I ate, my muffin top disappeared.
Yep.
Literally overnight. And in the last year, I've stopped weighing myself, but I had my numbers done, all my health numbers done the other week, and my waist is 2 inches smaller now than it was a year ago.
Yep.
So that, to me, was a good number. That's a good thing to measure.
And I think the good news, correct me if I'm wrong, Carrie, is most of the time when people say things like, my waist is 2 inches smaller, they're like, and here's the trail of tears that led up to that. I've been eating just lemon juice and grapefruits for the past 2 weeks and exercising chronically. Like, do you feel in any way deprived, or that, oh God, next year at this time, my waist is going to be back up because what I'm doing right now is so hard and unsustainable?
No, I have weekends of pure foodie joy.
But and I don't make that point to be like, yay, the Smarter Science of Slim is so good, but more to make a seemingly obvious, but a point that's been lost on us because of all of these diets and programs we've heard about. Folks, if we stop doing what we're doing, we're going to go off the track. So if we're doing something that we cannot keep up, any results you see from what you're doing are going to go away as soon as you stop doing it. And I know that sounds obvious, but truly, if you have a job and you like having income and you stop doing your job, you're not going to have income anymore. So you have to have a job that you can keep doing. And if you enjoy being slim and you enjoy being healthy, you have to enjoy the lifestyle that enables you to do that, or you will not be slim and healthy long term.
Right.
And that's the key. The question is not, just the other day, this is, I'm going to get a little emotional now because this kind of frustrates me. The other day, I got an email from someone just saying, hey, I used to do calorie counting and excessive exercise, and, I lost 20 pounds in 2 weeks, and I've been doing your program, and I haven't lost any weight yet. Thanks. It's just a kind of a snarky, mean email. But this person, the thing that breaks my heart about this person is this person, on some level, believes that what they did to lose 20 pounds in 2 weeks was good, and the Smarter Science of Slim is bad, despite the fact that I'm assuming they put the 20 pounds and then some back on, which is what caused them to come to the Smarter Science of Slim in the first place.
Right.
So getting short-term results, which are not sustainable, if you remember back to earlier podcasts, is worse than getting no results at all.
Right.
Because the things you are doing to get those results are actually breaking your metabolism more. They would be like Carrie breaking her ankle. Let's say Carrie and I both broke our ankles. And let's say Carrie's going to take a smarter approach and I'm going to take a quick fix approach. So Carrie is in a cast and she can't really do anything. But 5 days after breaking my ankle, I'm like, hey, Carrie, I got this sweet, brace on my ankle and I'm going to go skiing. And I can go skiing, Carrie. Look how much fun I'm having. I'm skiing, haha, while you sit at home. And then 2 weeks later, I've got an infection and my ankle's still busted. And 2 years later, my ankle is just worse and worse and worse. While Carrie's running around doing whatever. Because she sucked it up and was smart. At the beginning, she began with the end in mind. Whereas I was just after that quick fix thing. And that ended up screwing me up in the long term. Make sense?
It makes absolute sense. The other thing I wanted to say was that I can see how it will be easy for people listening to this podcast thinking that, maybe I have an agenda. I have no agenda. The things I share on this podcast are what I have personally experienced as being someone who met Jonathan fat and frustrated and completely unable to lose weight by exercising more and eating less. And this has just been my experience that I'm sharing with you. So there's no hidden agenda, there's no coaching, what I tell you is how it is. And I do spend all weekend eating, but I eat sane food. And I have not put on any weight, and my waist is 2 inches smaller, and all the important numbers from my blood tests are better, up or down, whichever way they needed to go. They are better than they were a year ago, and to me, that's what's important. And
you're feeling better. Your hair is looking better. Your eyes are shining. Your skin is glowing, and frankly, folks, I think that let's take a step back even further and just really talk about motivation, because again, as Carrie said, let's use a little story here. Let's talk about Carrie's example here. So Carrie is smaller, she's healthier, she's more energetic, she looks better overall, she feels better about herself. and her weight is basically the same. Okay, that's Carrie current. Let's say fictional Carrie. Fictional Carrie weighs 30 pounds less than today's Carrie, but she's tired all the time. She's crabby. Her mind is in a fog. Her health numbers are worse off, and she feels weak and lethargic all the time. Is that Carrie more successful because she's lost 30 pounds? Like, is that something we should be celebrating, or should we actually be like, oh my God, Carrie, like, what are you doing to yourself? However, how many of us, like in our culture, we seem to celebrate that sort of break yourself down in the short term to lose weight when the things that actually matter, how you feel, your mind, your body, your spirit, are all being compromised in favor of your weight? Like, how backwards and demeaning is that?
I'm laughing not because what you're saying is funny, but you're just getting so wound up. But it's just, and it's good, but it's funny.
I do. I'm gonna get even more wound up because I've been in this field for over 10 years. I used to be a trainer, and when I was a trainer, I worked with. I mean, that's really what spurred the Smarter Science of Slim, because I told the story before. I'll tell it again real quickly. When I was a trainer, I worked predominantly with women. Worked predominantly with women who were trying to lose weight. This was before the Smarter Science of Slim. So this is when I was educated with eat less, exercise more. I'd have these women eat 1,200 calories a day and do 1 to 2 hours of cardiovascular exercise per day. And they would potentially lose weight. They would feel terrible, and they would end up gaining it all back as soon as they stopped working with me, because no one can keep up hunger and feeling like crap 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, forever. They ended up worse off. Simultaneously, I'm eating 6,000 calories a day because I'm trying to put on muscle, and that's not really working for me either. And these poor women were just, I mean, what they were doing to themselves in the spirit of what? Like this arbitrary weight loss. One, it's terrible for your health, but two, even from a sex is all that matters in this country, cynical perspective, I have yet to ever meet a heterosexual male who sees a woman and says, oh man, look at the ribs on that girl. Like, she must only weigh like 86 pounds. That looks so good. Like, even heterosexual men don't think that skinny is attractive. Like, thank God. I mean, I don't know if it's ever been this way, but if you look back at the 50s, like Marilyn Monroe, no one was after twigs. They were after women that looked like women. And if you look around today, people like, even the pop stars like Beyonce, Jennifer Lopez, people who these athletic women, we're after fit and healthy. People are attractive to fit and healthy. People are not attracted to emaciated. Nobody is. But we are continued to be given health, quote unquote health, and fitness information whose goal is emaciation, not health and vibrancy. And that's just so wrong on so many levels. But when it's all we hear, we almost become brainwashed. And that's so sad. It's just very sad. It upsets me.
I can tell.
Well, and it's also because the other reason it upsets me, Carrie, is if you've ever been there, which I'm guessing a lot of our listeners have, if you've ever been in the starved and chronically tired and crabby mental fog place, you can just in your mind, you feel what's called cognitive dissonance, because the way you're living is not something that is right. Like intrinsically, we all know this cannot be what life is about.
Well, I think one of the problems is when I look back over my years is that it becomes normal. So you no longer recognize that you shouldn't feel that way, because that just becomes your new level. Tired is normal. It's no longer tired. So you can almost go through life not recognizing that you're not at your peak.
You're exactly right, Carrie. And that's why I urge people to just please, for 3 months, out of your whole life, just trust the mountain of research out there supporting this. And I actually don't trust it. If you read The Smarter Science of Slim, if you haven't already, read the research and fundamentally just understand that all we're saying is eat the most nutritious foods available and do exercise, which does not jeopardize your joints in any way. I mean, that seems like a win-win no matter what. Trust that for 3 months and just go by how you feel. When you cross that threshold, you will feel so right. Not only biologically, but mentally, it will just click. It will just make sense. Like, I don't know, sometimes people, like if you've ever, met the one, or maybe when you were picking your first car, you just saw the car and you knew it was the right car, or you had a house and you knew it was the right house, or you picked university and you noticed that the university, it just felt right. You will get to a point where you say, you deeply exhale and you're just like, I can do this. Like, this feels good. I feel like I'm living a life. Integrity is kind of the wrong word, but you will be honoring your body with an abundance of healthy food and with a mode of exercise that you can continue until the day that you leave this earth. And when you can see that, when you can see, I can do this forever and I feel great, you will literally, it's almost like being born again, because having confidence in your health and in your physical health and your mental health, and being freed from these arbitrary criteria that society places upon us, and getting better results than you would have using those traditional approaches anyway, you can literally check a box that many people never check in their whole life, and you will feel so good.
He's taken a breath. Can I say something now?
You can, yes.
I wanted to say that one of the biggest things for me over the last year, and I'm thankful for it every day, is that, except those odd occasions where I just go completely insane, which happen less and less, the thing I am most happy about is that I no longer feel like a pregnant hippo after I've eaten something. That I'm not bloated. I'm not, I don't know. I don't feel stuffed. Even though I'm eating way more food than I was, I no longer have that feeling of blah after I've eaten a meal. And that for me is almost worth just that.
Yep.
Without anything else is worth, I sit down and I eat as much food as I like, and I'm not having to unbutton the top of my jeans or that. I don't get that anymore, ever. And it's fantastic, because for so many years, it was just miserable. You ate, you were uncomfortable. I just, and I don't get that anymore. So for me, it was worth it just for that.
And not only eating and feeling uncomfortable physically, but I feel that a lot of us will eat and then feel uncomfortable psychologically. Like, we've been conditioned in many senses to think that eating is bad. And if we go through life feeling bad about ourselves every time we eat food, we're going to feel bad about ourselves way more than we should be. There is eating is this is going to sound stupid, but eating is the single most important thing we can do for our health. We just need to eat the right things. And if every time we eat, we feel great, as Carrie described, physically, but we also feel great mentally because we know we're doing something to heal our body, we're going to get this level of affirmation day in and day out. I mean, you can only exercise, once a day max, but you eat, 2 to 6 times a day, depending on your lifestyle. If every time that happens, you feel good physically, you feel good mentally, those little successes start to build on each other, and pretty soon a new version of you, not only physically, but mentally, comes out the other end, and it's pretty awesome. Other things we could look at if we do want, we can talk about all this metaphysical stuff all we want, but sometimes people just do want to measure things. So some options, if people do want to measure things, we already talked about waist circumference. You can measure your body fat percentage. Be wary though, because a lot of the over-the-counter things you can do to measure body fat percentage are horribly inaccurate, meaning like 40% margin of error, just bad. Your blood pressure, heart rate, fasting glucose, triglycerides, and cholesterol are all really good things to keep an eye on. So if you want to measure anything, those 6 things: body fat percentage, blood pressure, heart rate, fasting glucose, triglycerides, and cholesterol. Those are meaningful numbers to measure.
And your waist measurement.
And your waist measurement. So those are always great approaches. One of the favorite things I like to do is I tell people to simply find either a pair of pants or a shirt or a blouse that they really, really like. They can't fit into now, but it's something that they could imagine fitting into at some point and just buy that. Because within a couple of months, maybe a couple of weeks, it depends on a couple of things, which we'll talk about in a second, not only will you be able to wear that, but you will be able to wear it for the rest of your life. And that is what we're focused on here at the Smarter Science of Slim, is the rest of your life part. If you just want to lose weight, here's how to do that. Stop eating, exercise as much as you can, take a bunch of amphetamines and a bunch of diuretics. You will lose a lot of weight very quickly. You'll also destroy your health, and you'll also gain more than you lost as soon as you stop doing that horribly unhealthy approach. We don't want to do that. We're not about doing that here. And if your goal is weight loss, doing anything other than that will give you quote unquote bad results. And that's again why I'm so against that goal. Because if our goal is best achieved via something that is unhealthy, that is an unhealthy goal. I don't want unhealthy goals for us. I want healthy goals for us.
You're such a male, Jonathan.
Why do you say that?
Because you said you can buy a blouse and wear it for the rest of your life. There is no girl on this earth that wants to wear the same blouse for the rest of her life.
Fair. That's fair. Very fair. Very fair.
Same size, yes. Same blouse, no.
Fair. Very fair. Well, and just in terms of whenever you get into that blouse, which you will undoubtedly want to then buy a new blouse. How long this is actually, so we all want to unclog. Unclogging takes time. And let's just quickly run through some things that are going to affect how long it takes, Carrie. So first of all, obviously, the more ambitious your goals are, the more time it's going to take. And there's nothing you can do to speed it up necessarily. Just, the saner you eat and the more eccentric your exercise, the faster it's going to go. But again, you can't, if you cut your arm, you can put Neosporin on it. But at the end of the day, it's just going to take some time for that cut to heal. Like the body takes time to heal. How frequently and how vigorously you've yo-yo dieted historically is going to dramatically impact the amount of time it takes your metabolism to heal. Because every time your weight's gone down and back up, you've essentially broken another bone in your metabolism, or you've compounded that fracture. So someone who's never really dieted before, a lot of men experience this. So I hear a lot of stories of couples where the female will begin doing the Smarter Science of Slim, and because she's doing it, her husband will accidentally start doing it because she's the one who cooks in the family. And the husband, who is overweight but has never ever tried to lose weight, will then rapidly shed body fat. And the woman who has yo-yo dieted throughout her life because she's been told to eat less and exercise more will not be seeing that same rate of results. Well, why is that happening? Well, the woman's metabolism in that scenario has been repeatedly broken, whereas gone down, up, down, up, down, up. Whereas the male's has never gone down, up, down, up. It's just kind of steadily gone up over time. So that male metabolism will heal much faster, not necessarily because he's a man, but just because he hasn't weight cycled.
Right.
So two people doing the exact same thing, if one of them has yo-yo dieted a lot, it's going to take them a lot more time because, again, they have just broken their metabolism more. Make sense?
That it makes sense.
And then
it's not fair, but it makes sense.
It's not fair. Well, I'm going to make it even less fair, but, let's get the facts on the table. The older you are, the more time it's going to take. And this isn't crazy talk, right? If you break a bone when you're 5, it heals very quickly. If you break a bone when you're 50, it takes much longer to heal. And in fact, at some point, our body just stops healing itself. How healthy you are, right? If we have many, many pre-existing medical conditions, that's going to make it harder for our body to heal anything, let alone our metabolism. So it's just something to keep in mind. How slim our parents are. Researchers estimate that our body composition is anywhere from 40 to 70% genetic, just like our height, for example. So if you come from a family where both of your parents are significantly overweight, it's going to be harder for you to unclog than it would be someone who comes from a slim family. And then finally, how you live. The more you're stressed, the more alcohol you drink, the more late nights you have, just generally the more stress you put on your body, the longer it's going to take to heal. Just like if you had the flu and you didn't stay at home and relax, you'd keep the flu for a long time.
Right.
So it's just
Yeah.
Healing your metabolism is just like healing any other part of your body.
Right.
You've got to eat the right things. You've got to do the right activities, and you've got to just give your body some time. But then once it's healed, you're good to go. What do you think, Carrie?
I just think it's awesome. But you know that I've been doing it for a year, and it's just awesome, and I love it. And I can't actually imagine going back to life before Jonathan. That's a bit scary.
The pre-Jonathan era?
Pre-Bailor.
Pre-Bailor. But again, folks, so it's all about your individual goals, but let's make sure that our goals empower us. And the goal of the Smarter Science of Slim is long-term health and fitness. That is very distinct from short-term weight loss. In fact, if you want short-term weight loss, again, do not listen to this podcast. That's not our goal. If you do want to be healthy and fit in the long term, what we're doing here is simply laying out the types of foods and the types of exercises that are going to allow your body to do that for you, because fundamentally, your body wants to be healthy. Like, the body wants to be alive. Everything about the body is about propagating life. That is why we are here. The body doesn't want to be overweight. The body does not want to be sick. And if we simply feed our body sane foods and we help it unclog via eccentric exercise and we stay active, it will keep us healthy and fit, just like it has for hundreds and thousands of years prior to us even knowing what a calorie was, let alone counting them. That's it. It's that simple. But we've been so brainwashed with so much marketing and misinformation that it's easy to lose sight of that.
It is simple, but just a reminder, it's not always easy.
Exactly.
But it is simple.
It is simple.
And it does, I can tell you, it does get easier. Jonathan's been living this way forever, so he doesn't count anymore. But it does get easier very, very quickly, surprisingly quickly. And in fact, nothing else I've ever done ever got easier.
Yeah.
Not only did it not work, but it never got easier. This did get easier very quickly. And as I said, I now can't imagine going back to living the way I was, being hungry all the time, beating myself up if I hadn't cycled. All of that stuff has just gone away. I just don't experience. So even the peace of mind for me has made it worth it.
And getting easier over time, Carrie, you're exactly right. So again, not changing anything about our life and just eating garbage and never exercising. In the short term, that's going to be easier. In the long term, it is going to be harder because we're going to feel worse. We're going to have health problems. We're not going to be happy with the way we look. And those, having a heart attack when you're 40 and being 100 pounds overweight and feeling like crap all the time isn't easy. But however, it's not easy to give up smoking. But long term, it gets easier and easier to not smoke, and the benefits from not smoking will become clear. However, if we try to do eating less and exercising more, that is hard, and it continues to be hard, and it will never stop being hard. And it also makes us feel like crap. So we kind of have to look at the options available to us, which are feel like minor crap now and major crap later, and it's quote unquote easy. Have a little bit of challenge now, but it gets easier and we feel great in the future. Or have a lot of challenge now and forever while feeling bad. That last example is eating less and exercising more. The middle example, where it's a little bit of struggle now, but it gets easier and we feel better, is the Smarter Science of Slim. And feeling bad about ourselves now and feeling even worse about ourselves in the future is the standard American approach, which has led us to 1 in every 4 people being diabetic or pre-diabetic and a $200 billion healthcare crisis. Right.
I find now one of the things that has made it easier, which people might find helpful, is that I have now a little arsenal, and I know Jonathan does too, or they're different, but I have my go-to things in the fridge or in the cupboard that are SANE, that when I have that moment when I'm like, oh, I just have the munchies, or, oh, I'm upset about something, or whatever it is, I have stuff that's instant that I can eat to get rid of that without doing something insane. And I think for me that was key, to have a little arsenal of remedies when you were in that weird place.
And Carrie, I agree with you, and I'd even take it one step further. I mean, again, right, at the Smarter Science of Slim, we're not about perfection. Let's use the smoking analogy that I love to use because it fits so well. If someone smokes 3 cigarettes once a month at parties, they're probably not going to get lung cancer. And if we are insane once a week, our body will be fine. Because again, remember, we have a healthy body. It can, just like if we have a healthy immune system and we end up getting a cold, our body will take care of us. We just have to avoid that chronic consumption of starches and sweets that breaks our body in the first place. Once we have a healthy body, it can deal with these bumps in the road long term and normalize us. That's what it's designed to do. So it's okay to not be perfect. And in fact, our goal should never be to be perfect.
Thank God.
So
because I would never, ever, ever get there.
Reach that goal. Well, awesome. Well, folks, hopefully this was helpful. Next week, we're going to continue with some techniques we can use to help us go after helpful goals rather than harmful goals. And we'll just pick up where we left off. So, Carrie, you have any closing words for this week's podcast?
Do it.
Just do it?
Just do it. It's awesome.
Get sued by Nike.
Oh, see, this is the girl that doesn't have TV and doesn't have any media stuff, so I didn't know that was someone else's tagline.
Just eat it.
Just eat it. Just do it for 2 months. You'll never look back.
Awesome. Jonathan, Bailor, Carrie Brown, we're eating more, we're exercising less, but we're doing it smarter, and we'll see you next week. Wait, don't stop listening yet. If you like the podcast and if there's other ways we can help you, please join us in the Smarter Science of Slim support group, which is freely available at the Smarter Science of Slim website, smarterscienceofslim.com. There you'll find all kinds of free recipes and success stories and just all kinds of fun stuff, like how to help your kids go sane and just great community content.
And just one last thing before you go, if you wouldn't mind heading over to iTunes and up onto Amazon.com and leaving us a review, and then going over to Facebook and liking us, we would hugely appreciate it.